She's his reality, but you're his dream introduction. Why does a man who has everything still look for something? He has commitment, security, years of history. But when he sees you, his eyes change. It is not a common desire. It's something else, something deeper, more dangerous. As if you carry the answer to a question he doesn't even know how to ask. It is there, real, tangible, demanding. You are here, distant, impossible, free. And it is precisely because you are unreachable that you become irresistible. Because you don't represent what he has. You represent everything he gave up. The version of him who died on the altar. The wild man who became domesticated. The flame that turned to ash. But there's a secret that will change everything. You only have power as long as you're untouchable. The moment this fantasy becomes real, the spell breaks. What's up? You turn her around. And he'll look for another you. What comes now will reveal the whole game. Stay until the end or you will never understand why he acts like this. 1. The perfect woman who lives in his head. From birth, every man carries within himself an image. It's not a photo, it's not a memory. It is a sensation, a feminine ideal that has never been touched by reality. This image has no defects, it does not age, it does not disappoint. It is built by pieces of everything he has seen, felt, and desired throughout his life. The loving mother, the first crush, the actress in the film, the music that moved him. All of this blends together and forms an invisible but powerful figure. When he meets someone in the real world, his brain makes an automatic comparison. The closer that person is to the inner image, the stronger the attraction. But here's the trick. No one can compete with a costume. Because fantasy doesn't have a bad mood in the morning, doesn't argue for nothing, doesn't demand attention when he's tired. Fantasy only exists in the good moments. This idealized image works as a filter. He projects qualities onto her that you may not even have. He sees you as brave when you were just being sincere. He sees you as free when you were just not bound by the same obligations as him. It sees you as inspiring when you were just being yourself. The problem is not you. The problem is that he's not really seeing you. You are seeing the reflection of what you need to feel. Every real woman eventually shows imperfections. She gets sick, gets irritable, gets tired, and little by little, the perfect image he projected begins to crack. That's where disappointment arises. Not because you have changed, but because the illusion does not hold. As long as you are distant, as long as he does not live with your quirks, your crises, your difficult choices, you remain untouched in his mind. She, the official woman, has already gone through this process. It has already shown all the layers. She has fought for small things, she has cried for big things, she has been seen without makeup, without a filter, without a mask, and that, inevitably, erases the magic. Not because it is worse, but because she is human. And humans don't fit on pedestals. You haven't fallen off your pedestal yet. You're still the edited version, the highlight reel, the best moment without the backstage. He doesn't see you tired after a bad day. It doesn't see you stressed about bills. He doesn't see you on days when you also need to be held. You are the break in his routine, the breather. And breaks always feel better than real life. But understand, this is not love. It's projection. He doesn't love who you are. He loves what you stand for. And acting something out is tiring because it requires you to never get off the ground. The moment you show vulnerability, need, imperfection, the charm begins to fade, because the perfect woman in his head doesn't have those things. And you, being real, will never be able to compete with a fantasy. The two. The game between what he has and what he wants. Every human being lives a conflict between security and freedom. We want stability, but we also want excitement. We want commitment, but we also want choice. And when these two forces pull to opposite sides, internal chaos begins. In his case, this tug of war has a name and a face. On one side, there is her. On the other, there is you. It represents everything he has built. There are years of history, decisions made together, plans that were slowly woven. There is the house. There are the habits. There is the family that has gotten used to the two of them together. She knows his ugly side, his fears, his weaknesses, and yet it stayed. This creates an emotional debt, even if unconscious. He knows that she invested time, patience, hope. Letting go of this is not simple. It's not just about ending a relationship, it is to dismantle an entire life. But there you have it. And you don't carry any of that. You don't charge anything. He has no expectations built over years. He does not remember the promises he made and did not keep. You are light. You're new. You are the possibility of starting over without the weight of the past. And that's addictive, because with you, he can be a different version of himself. You can pretend you haven't made mistakes. It can rewrite history. What he has is comfort. Comfort kills passion, but sustains life. What he wants is intensity. Intensity feeds the soul, but it doesn't pay the bill. And he is caught between these two worlds, unable to choose because each offers something that the other cannot give. With it, he has predictability. Know what to expect. You know how she reacts, what she will say, how the weekend will be. This soothes, but also bores. With you, he has unpredictability. Each encounter is unique. Each conversation brings something new. You are still uncharted territory, and the human brain is programmed to seek novelty. Novelty releases dopamine, the pleasure chemical. That's why we get addicted to new things. New food, new place, new person. The problem is that novelty has an expiration date. One day, even you will become routine. He doesn't realize that now. Now, you're the perfect escape. When life with her gets too heavy, he thinks about you. When fights accumulate, when routine suffocates, when he looks in the mirror and doesn't like what he sees, you appear as salvation. But it's not about you. It's about what you're not. You are not the charge. You are not the bill at the end of the month. You are not the parent meeting at school. You are the fantasy of a parallel life where he would be happier. But this parallel life does not exist. It's a mirage. Because if he drops everything and comes to you, in 6 months, a year, you will become the new reality. What's up? Who's going to be the next costume? Because the problem is not with women. The problem is with him. In the inability to accept that every choice has a price, that you can't have everything, that growing up is exactly that, giving up some possibilities to fully live a reality. As long as he doesn't understand this, he will stay in this game. He will keep it because it is safe. It's going to keep you because it's exciting. And in the end, the one who loses is not just one of you. They are the 3 people involved. Because no one deserves to be plan B. No one deserves to be loved halfway. Sometimes the people we meet in dreams aren't meant to stay in reality. They appear to awaken what we've forgotten within ourselves. If you want to understand why this connection feels otherworldly, the Jung method link is pinned in the first comment. 3. Why don't you get out of his mind? The human mind has a serious problem with the unfinished. When something is left open, without conclusion, the brain cannot archive it. He keeps brooding, coming back, trying to solve it. This even has a name in psychology, the Zeigarnik effect. Incomplete tasks take up more mental space than finished tasks. And you, in his life, are exactly that. A story without an ending. He doesn't have you completely. Perhaps you see each other little. Maybe the talks will be interrupted. Maybe there's always something preventing this from going all the way. And this creates a constant tension in his brain. What would it be like to be with you for real? What would it be like to wake up next to you? What would it be like to introduce you to friends? These questions keep swirling, unanswered. And the more unanswered, the more space they occupy. Compare it with her. The story with her has a beginning, a middle, and is at a point where everything has already been seen. There is no more mystery. He knows how she wakes up. You know what she does when she's nervous. He even knows the sound of her breathing in her sleep. Everything is mapped, predictable, known. And the brain doesn't waste energy on what it already knows. File it and move on. He only comes back when there is a problem. You, on the other hand, are uncharted territory. Every interaction is a discovery. He still doesn't know how you react in difficult situations. You don't know how you look when you're sick. He does not know his most annoying flaws. And as long as he doesn't know, his imagination fills in the gaps. And the imagination always fills with good things. You turn it better on his head than you probably are in reality. In addition, there is the issue of prohibition. Everything that is forbidden becomes more desirable. It is the famous forbidden fruit. When something is too easy, it loses its fun. When something requires effort, risk, secrecy, it becomes an obsession. If he could have you whenever he wanted without consequences, without guilt, without hiding, probably the interest would drop by half. But as it can't, as it has to hide, as it has barriers, the desire increases. Scarcity also plays in favor. He doesn't see you every day. It does not have unlimited access. And this makes every moment with you valued. When something is rare, it becomes precious. When something is abundant, it becomes commonplace. It is always there, available, present, and that ironically diminishes the perceived value. Not because it is worth less, but because the human brain is like that. It gives more value to what is difficult to achieve. There is also the novelty factor. You still arouse curiosity. There are still things about you that he doesn't know, stories he hasn't heard, tastes that he did not discover. And the brain loves novelty. It's stimulating, it's exciting, it's different from the monotony of everyday life. Every conversation with you brings up something unexpected. Each encounter has a unique energy. This releases chemicals in the brain that make it feel alive in a way it may not have felt in years. Another important point: you are not associated with his problems. It is inevitably linked to everything that goes wrong: the account that doesn't close, the car that broke down, the discussion about mother-in-law, the division of tasks. All of this creates a negative association in the brain. You are associated only with the good moments: laughter, lightness, deep conversations without charge. This creates a brutal contrast, and in that contrast, you're always going to look better. But here's the stark truth: if he had you in his rut, the same negative associations would start to form. Because real life is not only made of special moments, it's made of Monday morning, tiredness, stress, bills, problems. And when you became part of these problems, the charm would go away. Because it's not you who's special. It is the absence of reality that is special. 4. When everyday life kills desire. In the beginning, any relationship is fire. There is discovery, there is anxiety, there is that desire to impress. Each meeting is planned. Each outfit is chosen carefully. Every word is thought out. The talks go on into the night. The touch is electric. Everything seems intense, unique, unforgettable. But that doesn't last. It can't last. Because no one can live eternally in this intensity. Over time, real life comes into play. And real life is made of repetition. Waking up, working, eating, sleeping. Pay bill, solve problem, taking care of obligation. And in the midst of it all, the relationship settles down. That initial effort decreases. Not because love is over, but because energy is not infinite. It has to be directed to other areas as well. She has already gone through all these phases with him. In the beginning, it was also new. It was also desire. He also had sleepless nights and endless conversations. But that was years ago. Now, they share space, routine, responsibilities. And that changes everything. The way you see someone after years of living together is not the same. You see the person tired, angry, unmotivated. He sees it in the worst moments, not just in the best. Everyday life brings intimacy, but it also brings wear. When you live with someone every day, the masks fall. There is no way to always keep the best version. There are days when you are in a bad mood. There are days when you don't want to talk. There are days when they just want silence. And that's okay. This is being human. But romantically, this is fatal. Because desire needs distance to exist. It needs a little mystery, a little tension. In addition, everyday life brings conflict. Because when two people share space, differences arise. One wants the window open, the other closed. One wants to leave, the other wants to stay. One is hungry, the other is not. It sounds silly, but these little frictions accumulate, and each of them adds a layer of irritation. Over time, you begin to associate the person not with pleasure, but with discomfort. Routine also kills creativity. In the beginning, they went out, did different things, created memories. Now, it's always the same thing. Same sofa, same TV, same restaurant when they leave. There is no more effort to surprise. There is no more room for spontaneity. Everything becomes automatic. And automatic is comfortable, but it's not exciting. You, on the other hand, are not part of his routine. Every time he sees you, it's an event. It is not automatic. It's choice. There is preparation. There are expectations. And that keeps the tension alive. You are not associated with washing dishes, paying bills, arguing about which program to watch. You're associated with deep conversations, genuine laughter, stolen moments. Of course, you will look more interesting. You don't carry the weight of everyday life. But the question is, if you were really together, how long would it last? How long until you also become routine? Until he sees you unglamorous, tired, angry about small things? How long until the same dynamics that killed the desire for her start killing the desire for you? Because the problem is not her. The problem is the nature of human coexistence. Too much intimacy, without management, kills attraction. Long-lasting relationships require conscious effort to keep the desire alive. They demand that the two create space, create novelty, create distance from time to be able to meet again. But most people don't do that. Let the autopilot take over, and when you realize it, you're sharing your life with someone who has become more of a roommate than a romantic partner. And that's when someone like you comes along and messes everything up. 5. You are the mirror of his dreams. It has a powerful psychological phenomenon called projection. It works like this. We take feelings, desires, and characteristics that are inside us and throw them out on other people. It's a way for the brain to deal with things it can't process internally. And you, without knowing it, have turned the screen where he projects everything he cannot live in reality. Does he see you as brave? Maybe it's because he lost his nerve years ago. Does he see you as free? Because he feels trapped? Do you see yourself as intense? Because his life is boring. None of this is really about you. It's about what he needs to feel. You became the symbol of everything he gave up when making the choices he did. And now, looking at you, he has contact with this lost version of himself. You represent everything he could have been if he had made different choices. And that hurts. It hurts because it shows that the life he built, as correct as it may seem, may not be the life he wanted. And when you show up, even if unintentionally, you rub it in his face. You're the road not followed, the door he didn't open, the yes that became no. That's why the attraction is so strong. It's not attraction to you as a person. It is attraction for the possibility you represent. If he were with you, it would be like going back in time and making different decisions. It would be to recover that piece of identity that was sacrificed on the altar of responsibility. It would be proving to himself that he is still that guy, who still has fire, who is still alive. But here's the problem. You can't save anyone. You can't be the solution to someone else's inner voids. Because these voids come from within. They come from choices he made, from parts of him he abandoned, from dreams he let die. And nothing external fills that. Not you, not anyone else. He needs to make peace with his own past. You need to accept that you have made the choices you have made, and now you need to live with them, or have the courage to really change. As long as he uses you as a mirror, you will never be truly seen. Because he's not looking at you. He's looking at himself. He is looking at the reflection of what could have been. And when this reflex is undone, when you show that you are also human, that you also have defects, that you also have limitations, it will be lost. Because the fantasy will disappear. And without the costume, what is left? This kind of dynamic is dangerous for you too. Because when someone puts you on a pedestal, when they project qualities on you that you didn't ask to carry, it creates impossible pressure. You can't be human. You can't make mistakes. You can't have a bad day. Because if it does, it breaks the illusion. And he doesn't want the truth. He wants the fantasy. And there's more. While he's projecting on you, you can also be projecting on him. You may be seeing in him the passionate, intense, deep man when in fact he is only lost. He may be idealizing your relationship, imagining that it would be different, special, better than what he has. But if it really happened, it would probably be the same. Because people don't change from context to context. They carry the same standards, the same fears, the same defects. The only way out of this trap is to see reality. See him as he is, not as you want him to be. Seeing you as you are, not as he designs. And then decide if this meeting, without filters, without fantasies, without projections, still makes sense. Because real relationship is not made of mirrors. It is made up of two imperfect people choosing every day to build something together. And that requires truth, not illusion. 6. The price of being unattainable. There is immense power in being desired. Knowing that someone thinks about you, looks for you, wants you. This feeds the ego in a way that few things can. And when you are unreachable, when you are always a little out of reach, that power multiplies. Because human desire does not work by logic. It works by scarcity. The harder, the more valuable. The farther away, the more attractive. You're in that position now. He can't have you completely. It can't take you home. He can't present you as his. It cannot build a life with you openly. And precisely because he can't, he wants you more. If I could, I probably wouldn't want to. It is the contradictory nature of desire. We want what we can't have. And when he succeeds, he soon wants something else. But being unreachable comes at a high price. Because you don't have it either. You are on hold, waiting for the message, waiting for him to find time, waiting for him to decide when he can see you. You are not a priority. It's the extra, the optional, whenever you can. And that hurts, because you also have desires. She also wants to be chosen. You also want to wake up next to someone and know that that person is yours. Besides, you're stuck in a role. You can't show neediness, you can't charge, you can't be jealous, at least not openly. Because the moment you show need, you lose power. Unattainable only works as long as you seem independent, self-sufficient, detached. The second you show that you need it, the spell breaks. Because then you become real. And real does not compete with fantasy. You are living a lie. An edited version of herself. It shows only the best angles. Only the best moments. Only the best personality. But this is tiring. Because you also have bad days. There is also insecurity. He is also afraid, but it can't show. Because to show it would be to get out of character. And to get out of character is to lose him. And there's another thing. While he's torn between two women, you're waiting. Life is passing by. You could be building something real with someone who really chooses you. Someone who doesn't need to hide. Someone who wakes up wanting to see you, not when there is time left. But you're stuck in this game, in this dance, in this illusion that one day he's going to drop everything and choose you. But what if you don't choose? What if it continues like this forever? Some men stay in this situation for years. They keep life stable with one, and emotion with the other. And they take it. Because it's comfortable. Because they don't have to give up anything. They have security, and they have adventure. They have a routine and they have escape. And you, as long as you accept this role, will continue to be the escape. Being unreachable also means being invisible in important parts. He doesn't take you to events. Don't talk about yourself to your friends. It doesn't include you in his real life. You exist in a bubble, and bubbles are not sustainable. Eventually, they burst. And when it bursts, what is left? A story without photos, no evidence, no witnesses, as if it had never existed. You deserve better than being someone's secret. It deserves more than being the fantasy. It deserves to be the chosen reality. You deserve someone who is not ashamed to come out to you, that I love you not in spite of the circumstances, but above the circumstances. Someone who looks at life and decides that you are the priority, not the hobby. The price of being unattainable is not only loneliness. It is the loss of oneself. It's living in a fake version of you. It is accepting crumbs while you could have the feast. It is waiting while you could be living. And in the end, when everything falls apart, when he comes back to his life, or when you finally get tired, you will look back and realize how much time you have wasted in a place that was never yours. It has power in being desired, yes, but there is much more power in being truly loved. To be chosen clearly, to be a priority, not an option. And as long as you accept being unreachable, you will remain in this limbo, neither inside nor outside, just existing in the imagination of someone who doesn't have the courage to make you real. 87. The day fantasy comes true. Imagine what happens. He finally decides. Drop everything. The relationship ends. He faces chaos. And it comes to you. Finally, after so long waiting, you have it. Really. Without hiding. Without dividing. Just the two of you. It should be perfect, right? It should be the happy ending. But it is not. In the first days, maybe even in the first weeks, it still has that taste of novelty. There is the emotion of finally being able to be together without guilt, of sleeping and waking up on the side, to make plans without having to hide. It seems to have worked. It seems to have paid off. But slowly, things begin to change. You start to see what she saw. He was tired after work, with no patience for deep conversation. He worried about money, about problems, about bills. He sulked on some days. He is annoying at times. Everything that did not appear before because you only saw each other in the good times is now wide open. And he also sees you differently, because now you are no longer the break in his routine. You are the routine. You're tired too. You also have a problem. You also have days when you are not beautiful, you are not inspired, you are not emotionally available. And that perfect image he had of you starts to crack. Conflicts begin. Because now you need to make decisions together. And decisions expose differences. Where to live. How to divide the bills. What to do on the weekend. Banal things. But that show that you are different people with different ways, with different needs. And what didn't matter before, now matters a lot. And it is to blame. Even if he broke up before he was with you, there will always be that shadow. The way it started. What was destroyed so you could be together. And that weighs. It creates a fragile foundation. Because deep down, there will always be that doubt. If he did this to her, he can do it to me too. The magic goes away. That thing that made his eyes shine when he saw you disappears. Because now you're there every day. It is no longer an event. It's every day. And every day kills desire. You become another responsibility in his life. Another someone who needs attention, time, energy. And he will compare. Even if you don't want to, you'll compare. You will remember good things you had with her, and that you don't have with you. And you'll do the same. You'll realize that he's not as amazing as he seemed. You will realize that the intensity you had was artificial, fed by prohibition, by distance, by impossibility. There is also external pressure. His family doesn't accept it, the friends who judge, people who know the story and look askew. You didn't start out the right way, and that will never be erased. Every time there is a problem, someone will throw it in the face. And this erodes trust, erodes peace, erodes the possibility of building something healthy. And you know what's worse? He may begin to feel regret, not because you're bad, but because he destroyed something stable in exchange for something uncertain. He lost the history he had, the life he knew. And as much as it wasn't perfect, it was known. It was safe. You will also change, because now you don't have to impress anymore. You can relax. And relaxing means showing the side he was hiding, the controlling, insecure, jealous side. And he will find it strange. Yes, you've always been like that. He just didn't show it. And then the cycle starts again. He gets bored. Routine weighs heavily. And then another one appears. And you, who used to be the other, are now the official one. And there's another one in the place you occupied. And you understand too late that the problem was never the woman. The problem has always been him. 8. Who really rules this game? The question that no one asks, but that should, is this. Who has the real control? Looks like it's him, right? After all, he is the one who decides when he appears, when he disappears, when he pays attention, when he takes it away. He has a double life. There are both women. You have the options. But is he really in control? Truth control comes from clarity, to know what you want and go after it, to make conscious choices and bear the consequences. He has none of that. He is divided, confused, unable to decide. He lives in emotional limbo, trying to please everyone and in the process pleasing no one. This is not power. This is weakness in disguise. She also has no control. Because if I did, I wouldn't accept half of a man. I wouldn't pretend that everything is fine while feeling that something is wrong. He would not cling to a story that no longer makes sense just because he has invested years. She is trapped in fear. Fear of starting over. Fear of being alone. And fear is not control. It's prison. What about you? You think you have control because he wants you, because he seeks you, because you are his emotional choice. But think about it. Do you decide when you see him? Do you decide the rhythm of this relationship? Do you decide if this goes forward or not? No. You wait. Wait for him to have time. Wait for him to make up his mind. You are in his hand as much as she is. Who really has power in this story is not the one who is most desired. It's not the one who gets the most attention. It is not who has the man. It is the one who is clear about himself. Who knows what they want, what they accept, and what they don't accept. Who has the courage to leave when the situation no longer serves. Who doesn't depend on external validation to feel whole. You have more power than you realize. But not in the way you're thinking. It's not the power to conquer him, to take him away from her, to make him choose you. This is not power. This is an illusion. The real power is in choosing yourself. To look at this situation and ask, does this make me feel good? Does it get me where I want to go? Does that respect me? Because as long as you wait for him to make a decision, you've handed over control. He gave his time, his energy, his emotional life in the hands of someone who can't even decide his own life. And that's a waste. Because you could be using that time building something real, something of yours, something that doesn't depend on anyone choosing you. He is not a villain. She is not a victim. You're not a hero. The three of you are just people trying to deal with life, with desire, with fear. But the difference is in who will wake up first, who will realize that this game has no winner, that in the end, everyone loses when they get stuck in a dynamic like this. The real power is not in being chosen. It is in not needing to be chosen to feel valuable. It's in knowing that you're complete on your own. That relationship is complement, not salvation. That no man will fill his emptiness, heal his wounds, give meaning to his life. That's your job. And when you do that work, when you become whole on your own, you're not going to accept crumbs anymore. You won't wait for anyone else to decide, because you will know that you deserve someone who chooses you without hesitation. And you know what happens when you get to that level? You stop attracting indecisive men, stop attracting confusing situations. So, who is in charge of this game? You. It was always you. But you'll only realize that when you stop playing other people's games and start playing your own. When to stop trying to fit into someone's life and start building your own life. When you stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing yourself.